Hello, friends. Uh, I welcome all of you to our channel in search of research. And today we'll discuss about how do you design a questionnaire for survey and how can you adapt a scale from the previous study. And this is a very important uh, activity, or you can say that a very important part of your research, where you need to design your instrument or the questionnaire to collect data. But the new scholars, basically the new scholars, when they start doing this quantitative research and after the literature review, and when they report the methodology, and in methodology part they need to write about how they design the questionnaire, from where they adopted the questions. So here only the scholars face problems, and they could not even they could not figure out what exactly here they do and how they can design a questionnaire. And many times I have seen that almost 90% scholars, what they do, without taking any advice from the supervisor or without going through any literature, without understanding anything, they start formulating questions to collect data. And many scholars, what they do, they just read literature and read about the variables and write down the questions. And they think that by answering this question from the respondent, they can collect data and they can use the Likert scale or dichotomous scale, whatever. Yes, that can be done, but when you are dealing with a descriptive kind of research, or your aim is for the descriptive analysis, then you can go for any kind of questions. But if you are doing a multivariate research, and you want to test a particular conceptual model, and you want to measure very complex variables, then you cannot write anything, or you cannot formulate any questions to measure a particular variable or construct. And in good journals, good impact factor journals, they always looking for the pre-validate questionnaire. So the problem here is the scholars don't aware about that. Might be they don't know how to do, that's why they go wrong. So here we will discuss how you can design a questionnaire and how you can adopt the scale from the previous study. So first, how you can do this. First one is, your scale is required to measure a variable and construct. Any construct you are using, or you feel that this construct maybe is important for your research and it can influence your dependent variable or other variable, then you can adopt it and operationalize it. And in this process, in operationalization, you give your construct some questionnaire that you can measure your construct. For example, let's say someone is doing let's say a research on technology adoption behavior, and the res- the scholar let's say use technology acceptance model, and there one variable, let's say we talk about the variable, let's say perceived usefulness. So perceived usefulness means that the usefulness of a technology, how much the technology is useful to perform a particular task by using this technology. Then how you can measure that perceived usefulness? For that, you minimum you require three questions, and these three questions or more than three questions always talk about the different aspects of usefulness. If these three or more than three questions don't talk about the all aspects of perceived usefulness of a particular technology, then you can say that this measure is incomplete. So that is why it is always advisable that scholars, without formulating any questions, because when you suppose, you have a sense that what exactly the perceived usefulness, and you write down some questions, maybe there is a high chance that you maybe you miss uh, a particular aspect of the perceived usefulness. Then there you lose one aspect, and this is called incomplete measure of the perceived usefulness, or that construct from the theory of technology acceptance model. So this is the first problem when you try to measure, or try to give questionnaire to measure a particular construct by your own without following the pre-validated scale. The second problem is you cannot consistently or perfectly measure if you write down the questions by your own. Yes, if it is a completely new construct that is not available in the literature, then you go for the questionnaire development or the scale development, that is called scale development. And this is a very tedious process, because you need to generate all these items, you need to validate all these items. So so that's why it is better, you should go for the existing scale. Means existing scales means that scale or the a particular set of questions that are already used by the previous study or the previous scholars to measure the construct. Here, let's say perceived usefulness, there are thousands of papers available, and many questions can are used to measure perceived usefulness. So, first is the scale. Scale means the set of questions is designed to measure a particular variable or construct. Then next one is you can directly adopt the questionnaire or do minor changes in your context. Yes, this is highly advisable for the new scholars. If you want to measure a particular variable or particular construct in your study, then you must adopt a scale from the previous study. That doesn't mean you haphazardly adopt any questions that measure, let's say, perceived usefulness. For example, no, you should look into the original questionnaire that is developed by let's say Davis 1989. Then you can adopt that is original scale. If you are using any scale that is let's say fit in your context, you think that it is very close to my context, then you can adopt, or you can minor changes are allowed. You can change some words to contextualize it to in your for your context. So it is advisable, and it is very very important, and that the new scholars, when they want to measure a particular construct or variable, they should adopt the questionnaire from the previous study. Then third point is you can change the language or translate it into the suitable for your respondents. Yes, you can do it. For example, suppose someone is, let's say, measure a construct, let's say green behavior. Then it is, let's say in Spanish, right? They measured it with in Spanish language. The questionnaire is in Spanish. There you can change the language to English language or any language your respondent is means suitable to answer the questions. But here you need to be very very careful, because if you change the questionnaire, again you need to perform exploratory factor analysis, and you need to check the loadings of the initial loadings of the each questionnaire into your construct or the variable. That is a second step when you validate that questionnaire. But it is uh, very means you can say that it is very uh, tricky way that you just translate the questionnaire from one language to another language. And for that you need to follow some statistical method, that is exploratory factor analysis and all, to validate it again. Because when you change the entire language, because that might be the means the perception or the way the respondent will respond to that questionnaire might be change. So that's why you need to be very very careful, and uh, when you translate, you should follow the statistical operations that is mentioned, or the that is recommended by the previous study. And fourth one is you need to take validated skills. Why? Because every time you need to take validated question, because when you take the validated question, then your reliability and validity can be established for your measurement. So it is very important, because before you go for hypothesis testing or any kind of data analysis, or any kind of inferential statistics operation, you must check the validity and reliability of the instrument or the construct or the variable. By using this variable, you collect the data, so you need to validate and you need to check the reliability of that instrument or the variable. It is very important. You need to remember that you always take validated skill. And for new scholar, it is mandatory that you should take validated skill. If you take any scale that is not available, that you cannot cite the literature, that from where you take the scale, then the journal, means good journals, they never accept your paper. So very important. So you need to keep in your mind these four things while you are thinking to measure a particular variable, or you just design the questions for your variable. It is very simple, that you just adopt the questionnaire from the previous scale and do minor changes. Okay. So next is, it's a example I have given. So here you can see that if I will uh, let's say for example, here you can see that this is a paper published in Journal of Retailing and Consumer Service. This is a very good journal, and this is a ABDC A category journal. Okay, and this is actually uh, uh, published by Farooq Anil Konuk, and the title is Trust Transfer from Manufacturer to Private Label Brand, the Moderating Role of a Grocery Store Format. And here you can see that the researcher used this model. So this model, actually they have taken a very different constructs. This is a construct, this is one other construct, this is another construct, and they have taken this store format as a moderator, and this is the dependent variable, you can say. And maybe perceived risk act as a mediated factor between trust in manufacturer brand and willingness to buy, and trust in PLB and willingness to buy. So my concern here is that that suppose, let's say, suppose these now the this author wants to measure, let's say, manufacturer brand quality, right? Manufacturer brand quality. So what he do, he didn't write the questions to measure the manufacturer brand quality, means perceived quality of the manufacturer brand. What he do, he just do this. What he did, following Bao et al 2011 study, perceived manufacturer brand quality was measured with three items respectively. And what are these three items? Here you can see these three items. Whatever we have discussed the questions, right? These three items, this manufacturer brand is of high quality. This is a superior manufacturer brand. This manufactured brand is of very good quality. Might be these questions look means sounds like similar, but yes, because it is a this is a reflective construct, right? So like these three questions represent this, then this, then this, because it is a reflective construct. So means in reflective construct we use similar kind of questions to measure a particular brand, a particular let's say construct. So here is the reference from where they have adopted these questions, from Bao et al 2011, right? So this is a high impact factor and ABDC A category journal. So that's why they always, this kind of journal always recommend that you should adopt a scale. And for your kind information, this all means, but for example this, let's say this, right? So this all three questions, right? All these three questions are called the scale. Okay, so scale means these three questions are called questionnaire or scale to measure this brand manufacture, means manufacturing brand quality. So likewise, when you identify some variables in your research, you can build model like this, or maybe you simply you have a regression equation. Then you must measure this your variable in your research. You can think about, now you can think about your research and your variable, and you start looking at the the scale available in extant literature, means in previous literature, and there from there you can adapt like this. You can adapt, and when you adapt, then you just give a let's say Likert scale, and the respondent will answer these questions, and you can calculate all the reliability and validity parameters. So in this way, you can adopt a resource, let's say, instrument or the scale for your research, and design your questionnaire. So I hope this is helpful for you to adopt a questionnaire or scale for your variables in your research, and definitely it will help you to means to do practically to do means or design the questionnaire for your research. So this is from my side. Thank you all, and kindly subscribe and share this subscribe our channel and share this video, so that your friends or your colleagues maybe benefited from this video. So thank you. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you for your time and patience.